Mistakes to avoid when selling on Etsy. If you want to find out what mistakes to avoid at all costs when selling on Etsy, then just keep watching. Welcome back to my channel, friends. If you're new here, I'm Adnan. I'm a Etsy seller and business coach, and my goal on this channel is to share with you guys what I've learned in my past 6 years of selling on Etsy, and the strategies that I've used to bring my shop to 6 figures. So in addition to sharing tips on what you should be doing on Etsy, it's important that I let you in on the things that you shouldn't be doing. So in today's video, I'm going to be sharing the top 4 mistakes that I see so many Etsy sellers making and how you can avoid them. Never put your shop in vacation mode. If you've never heard of it, vacation mode on Etsy is something that you can turn on for your Etsy shop when you're either on vacation or you have an emergency come up and you need a little break from the sales coming in. So what turning on vacation mode actually means for your shop is that you will no longer appear in the search at all. Someone can find your shop if they search for it specifically by its name. But if they're just searching for a certain item, it won't appear in the search. It won't rank at all. People will not be able to add items to their cart, even if they find their way to your shop, because the add to cart section will be grayed out. Therefore, meaning that people will no longer be able to purchase anything from your shop as long as it's on vacation mode. Sometimes Etsy sellers will turn on vacation mode if they're feeling really overwhelmed and they just need a break, or they want to stall their orders for a little bit to catch up. It sounds like a good option, right? But in reality, the problem comes in when you return and you take your shop off of vacation mode. You'll realize that your listings have been knocked way down in search. You may no longer be ranking on the first or second page if you were before. And actually, I've heard many stories of sellers whose shops pretty much died. They were brought to a point where they were unrecoverable. So I would recommend that you think long and hard before putting your shop on vacation mode. The reason for this is because Etsy works off of momentum, but the momentum of making continuous and steady sales is what boosts your listing's quality score and helps you to rank higher in search, being more easily found when people are searching for your niche or your product category, and every time you make another sale it just boosts it again and again. So you want to have that ongoing momentum, and when you put your shop in vacation mode, it completely halts that, completely stalls it, so that when you come back your momentum is gone and it's like starting all over. So this is the reason that we've actually never put either of our shops on vacation mode and hope to never have to. And I would really recommend that you only use the vacation mode as a very last resort, like emergency situations. Some things that you can do if you're getting overwhelmed and you do feel like you need a break is to extend your processing time so that you have a longer period of time to space out filling your orders. Or to even raise your prices a little bit. That will slow down your sales naturally and you'll be making more profit for sale. Never focus on quantity over quality. Okay. The second thing that you should never do on Etsy is never focus on quantity over quality. And what I'm talking about here are listings. Now I want to address some strategies that others have put out that are very outdated and they're not true. But I hear people say them all the time. There's a strategy that says you need to be listing new items every single day. You need to be getting up into the hundreds of listings for your shop. You need to be renewing every single item every single day. And the people who are teaching these strategies are claiming that by doing all of this extra manual labor every day that it will boost your listings, which just isn't true, and Etsy has even said not to focus on that. Now, I'm not saying that having a lot of listings is bad. I'm just saying that you should never sacrifice the quality of your listings for just trying to rush and create all these listings just for the sake of having quantity. Now here is a more in-depth strategy that I really want you to lean into and get right now. So listen to the logic of this. Etsy lets you have drop-down menus for options when you have a listing. So what I suggest is, if you have similar listings with different options, a lot of people would say, well, let's say you have 7, create 7 different listings so that you can have more listings out there, more chance to be seen, etc. But I would argue you should create one listing and have all of those different 7 variations in the drop-down menu on the one listing. And the reason for this is that you'll end up getting more sales on that one listing, therefore boosting that listing's conversion score and boosting it in the search that it's found more easy. It's on the first, second, third page, and the more sales you make on it, the higher it ranks. If you had put each variation up as a separate listing, and you had 7 different listings, then in essence you're splitting the total sales that item could make between 7 different listings, and each one has a lower total of sales, not optimizing the opportunity of having all the sales focused on one listing to really boost that one listing. So to give you an example of this, if I offered a bracelet in red, white, black and blue, I wouldn't need to do a separate listing like one for the red bracelet, one for the black bracelet, one for the blue bracelet, etc. I would just do one listing for that bracelet, and have all of those color options listed in the drop-down menu. Therefore all the sales, no matter who's buying a red one, who's buying a black one, who's buying a blue one, they would all purchase through that listing. Now don't get me wrong, you do need a healthy amount to start, but I would suggest to start off your shop, shoot for 12 to 15 listings. And then grow as you go, making sure that every listing you put up is a quality listing. And then as you go you can build up to 40 or 50 listings. You don't need hundreds upon hundreds of listings in your shop. Okay friends, we're about to dive into mistakes number 3 and 4. But first, if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, we would love for you to do so. Just click the little subscribe button. And also don't forget to turn on your notifications by tapping the little bell. Never price your items too low. Alright. The third thing to never do on Etsy is never price your items too low. Now, I have 2 main reasons that I recommend this. The first one and most important one is burnout. There have been so many Etsy sellers that price their items too low because they just want to make some sales. And then once they start making the sales, they're working themselves to death to try to fill the orders. And they're not even making that much profit. And that is a quick way that leads to burnout. That's not a sustainable way to run your business. And it's not a long-term plan because you're gonna get too tired. You're gonna get worn out at some point. If you raise your prices a little bit, yes, you may get less sales, but think about it, you'll be making more profit per sale. And the second reason I recommend this is because buyers subconsciously connect price with quality. So think about it. When you're a buyer you probably don't even know that you do this, but most buyers assume that a low-priced item means poor quality, and a high-priced item means good quality. Most buyers want a good quality item for a reasonable price. So they end up landing somewhere in the middle. They usually don't buy the highest price or the lowest priced item in that category. You want to try to find that sweet spot in your pricing where people feel comfortable that your item is of good quality. But it's also not just way pricey so that nobody can afford. It also raising your prices leaves room for you to offer discounts which will drive traffic and promote sales. Never start halfway. And last but not least, the fourth thing that you should never do on Etsy is never start halfway. You need to give yourself the time you need to start well. This doesn't mean that everything has to be perfect before you launch your shop. It just means that you're taking the time you need to research and prepare well before you start. If you want to make a substantial income from your Etsy shop, you can't go into it thinking it's just a hobby or it's just something you're going to do for fun. You have to think of it as a business, and it's going to require some focused effort. One thing you definitely need to take time to do is to research what sells before you choose what your product type is. And then once you choose what product you're selling, research and hone in on your process to ensure that you can make that product in a consistent and efficient way. So you know for sure that it's streamlined, and you can send out a quality product each and every time. Another thing to think about is that you don't want to just go for the easy product. You want to choose something that's a little harder to make. That requires some skill because that means that there'll be less competition. And not everybody and their brothers would be on Etsy selling the same thing. This means that you may have to watch some tutorials. You may have to pay for some classes. You may have to talk to some people who've done it. You may have to take some time to learn a new skill and develop it and fine-tune the process of making it. But trust me, if you invest the effort that it takes in the beginning to learn the new skill, then you'll eventually be able to offer a product that's in high demand, with not a lot of supply, and that's the place that you want to be in. You want to research and find out what sells, and then figure out how you can make it, and make it better than any of the competition around you. So, there you have it, friends. Those are the 4 mistakes to avoid when selling on Etsy. Please give it a like, don't forget to subscribe, and hit that bell so you're notified every time I post a new video. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye for now.